In today's video, I'm going to review the third pick from the poll on my community tab, and that's the new album by Cryptopsy, a Canadian death metal band that has just released their first album in 11 years. The name of the album is As Gomorrah Burns. It was developed over nearly a decade of trial and error during periods of stagnation. The band's brutal technical death metal / deathcore sound is executed with precision and professionalism. Thematically, the album explores the connection between the story of Sodom and Gomorrah from the Bible and the dark side of humanity found online. It delves into the how the internet can be seen as a breeding ground for both good and evil as people navigate the extremes of the human psyche in a highly adaptable digital world. Cryptopsy is a Canadian extreme metal band. They formed in 1988 in Montreal, Quebec. Over the years, the band has undergone several lineup changes and musical evolutions, making a prominent figure in the death metal and extreme metal. So this band was formed by drummer Mike Wacken, guitarist Steve Thibault, and vocalist Dan Greening. They started as a more traditional death metal band, influenced acts, or they were influenced by like Death and Morbid Angel, those acts. So the band's style evolved. They incorporated elements of technical death metal and grindcore. The band released their seminal album, None So Violent, in 1996, often considered one of the greatest death metal albums of all time. The style evolved further with the next few albums in the 2000s, and the band explored more experimental and progressive elements while maintaining their extreme sound. The band released a self-titled album in 2012, making a return to their brutal death metal roots. Now they are a band 11 years later with As Gomorrah Burns. So throughout history, this band has experienced numerous lineup changes and shifts in musical direction, but has constantly been driving forth in the world of extreme metal. They are celebrated for their technicality, brutality, and contributions in the evolution of death metal. Their lyrics are very graphic and explicit. So, for example, let's talk about the song Flayed the Swine. The lyrics describe a person who was hurt and humiliated and wants to get revenge on a person who did it to him. The lyrics get very graphic, explaining all the gory details of what this person is doing. It's a scene out of a horror movie, and I recommend reading the lyrics because they are very explicit.
You look so soft. Your compliment was sufficient, Lewis.
Now let's talk about the songs. It's a short album. It's only 30 minutes long. 8 songs go by very quickly. It's just very heavy and brutal, and let's get into it. Opening track, Lascivious Undivine. This song doesn't waste any time getting heavy. It starts with a fast pace. The drums are very intense. The vocals are very harsh. The guitar riffs are complex and technical. This band likes to change tempos throughout their songs, sometimes more on the atmospheric side. Sometimes they're just pounding you down with heavy blast beats and guitar riffs. In abeyance, this song goes full throttle for the first minute, and then it just hits you with blast beats and heavy riffs and vocals. And after the first minute, they take their foot off the accelerator a little bit, and you can hear some different vocal styles used. Godless Deceiver is another one of those songs where the first few seconds are very intense, but then they slow down a bit and they turn up the heaviness with these pummeling guitar riffs that just sound like throwing punches at you. Il Ender is another heavy and brutal song. The thing that stands out with this song is that they have more of those chugging sounds that are in common with like maybe like thrash, but they do it in a way that separates the blast beats from the other sections of the song. The song has a cool breakdown towards the end of the song. The lyrics tell the story of a boy who was bullied and completely loses it, gets depressed, and wants revenge. The end of the song talks about how he finds his father's gun and takes it to school and does what he needs to do, but in the end, it doesn't help, or at least that's my interpretation of it. Flayed the Swine was a song I was talking about before. It's a pretty good one. first few seconds of the song have kind of like this brighter guitar riff, and I think that makes it stand out amongst the others. The song lyrics describe someone spiraling out of control, and the guitar riffs just sound like they're spiraling. That's pretty cool how they did that. And then we got The Righteous Lost, another very heavy song. You can hear the bass guitar up front in this one in some sections. This is one of those songs with a very complex, it's very technical. The guitar solo is very melodic. Obescient is the perfect song because it's the second to last song on the album. They slow it down a lot. It's more of an atmospheric type of song and has a lot of heaviness. I read one of the comments in the YouTube section. One person said it reminded them of their earlier material. Praise to Filth is the last song. The lyrics are about the internet, how people will do anything just to get attention and likes, but they write it in that special way so they don't, or they make it very graphic. And then the song is good. There's lots of heavy parts, lots of tremolo picking. Song is very intense, lots of blast beats, lots of complex guitar riffs, just like most of the other songs. I think they turned it up a notch in this one. As the song comes to a close, it is some very harsh and brutal screams. Probably some of the best vocals are on the back half of this song. In conclusion, this one was good. It was okay. As far as the albums that came out this weekend, I thought the Dying Fetus album was much better than this. And the Silosis album, maybe a little better, even though it's a completely different style. But this one's still good. I go back to it now and then. It will probably make my end of the month list. I don't think it will be up very high on the list, but I think if you're a fan of the band, you will appreciate it more. For me, it took about 3 listens to get into it. I think on the first listen, it didn't really do much for me, but it grew on me a little. My score is going to be a 7.5 out of 10. I recommend it, but I think if you're a fan of the band, maybe you would score it a little higher.
That is all. Thanks for watching. Please remember to give this video a like. It helps me with the algorithm. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I do rock and metal reviews and rankings and a lot more. And please leave a comment. Let us know what you think of this album. Check out this other video here, and I will see you in the next one.